kind of struggled in the first half, but in the second half, kind of really found their groove. And I think right now they're in as good of a place as they've been all year.
Pointing maybe back to that John Carroll game, what was the point in the game, or was it just sort of a gradual thing where maybe those guys started to realize, okay, it is starting to come together?
Yeah, I think it was just a general belief. They gained confidence because they felt that they could play with arguably one of the better teams in the country, and I think they did some really good things. And again, it's confidence is a wonderful thing, and I think that they just left there with a little bit more confidence than maybe they've had all year. Certainly, we've had some continuity into our lineup, but I just think that belief and that confidence is going to carry these guys tonight.
You referenced that Carroll's maybe one of the better teams in the country, and they've drawn some of that praise. Heidelberg beat them. Heidelberg, the only team, in fact, this year to beat them, and even though they've stubbed their toe a little bit since that point, they were able to come up with a big win. It was a game in Tiffin. I assume you probably had a chance to see some of that game on tape. What did you see about Heidelberg that was able to come up with a winning formula?
Well, no doubt. I mean, Heidelberg is a very, very good team. No weaknesses. They're good in the back. They're very comfortable on the soccer ball. So I think that them knocking off John Carroll, especially at their place, wasn't a massive surprise. I mean, they've had a rough week, but there's no doubt that they are a very, very good team. And I think for us, it's going to be imposing our will and our style onto the game tonight. I think we're getting better in the back. We're creating better ideas and better play out of our midfield and obviously up front with Danny Ruppel and a couple other guys, Michael Snowball. We've got some guys that could finish off chances.
Danny Ruppel, you bring his name up again, and obviously it's impossible not to talk about what he's done. I'd love your thoughts on his record-setting season with now 16 goals.
Well, I think when you and I sat down at the beginning of the year, I mean, the one thing that we really looked for from Danny was consistency, and that was his challenge going into the year. There was no doubt that he had talent. It was just a matter of a consistent performance, and I give him a lot of credit. He's risen to the challenge, and game in, game out, he is proven to be a handful. He's got all the weapons that you need of a good goal scorer. He strikes the ball very, very well. He's quick. He's crafty, and he's forcing goalkeepers not to make saves. Or before, I don't know if that was always the case. So he's certainly having a big year for us.
Michael Snowball's back and healthy, and I know that was a big point of emphasis for you because you think the two of them up front can continue to grow and kind of create some havoc. Since Michael's been able to come back from his injury, what have you noticed in terms of their chemistry?
Well, I think one thing that's really allowed us is to slide Joey Geither more into the midfield, which Joey was very effective for us up front, but I think he's a more natural midfielder. So now we've got guys playing in the positions they should be playing. I mean, Mike is he reads the game for a freshman. He really reads the game very, very well. He's an imposing athlete, great vertical jump, very good in the air. And with him, it's almost the same challenge we had of Danny last year. Is we're still struggling with his consistency, but when he gets it going and he and Danny are playing off of each other, he's a load.
Yeah. I want to ask you one final question that actually has nothing to do with BW, but about soccer in general, because I think it's important, certainly in the greater Cleveland soccer community. A lot of fans have supported the Columbus Crew, and the news came out today that there's a better than good chance that team could be moving to Austin, Texas, and certainly disappointing for Columbus. But that news on the heels of the U.S. men's national team failing to qualify for the World Cup. I'm interested what the kinds of conversations have been like between coaches and players, just about soccer in general on a larger level.
Well, certainly with the national team, it was incredibly disappointing. But in some ways, it may expose a couple flaws in the system that need to be addressed. I mean, the thing, and we got very, very spoiled in this country that qualification is not a rite of passage. You've had England and Argentina and Italy and Holland is not competing in this year's World Cup as well. So it's not a given, and I think maybe we had just assumed that it was every year we were going to be there. So if they're able to look at the big problem, and the problem isn't necessarily the coach, speaking as a coach, but it's the big development plan for this country, some things that they can look at to ensure that never happens again. As a side note with Columbus, I mean, it's I hope they work it out. I really do, because I think to have big time soccer in this state is really important. It's an opportunity for our players to go down, watch games at a high level. So I hope they're able to patch it up and stay in Ohio. But yeah, it was a rough week in the world of soccer for sure.
No doubt about that. Let's leave with some keys to the game tonight against Heidelberg.
Getting off to a good start. I think imposing our will right away with our group, and probably over the last 2 weeks, so we've eliminated periods where we just don't play well. So that's going to be paramount. It's just getting off to a good start, getting into rhythm right away. I think we just have to be resilient. I mean, Heidelberg is going to get goals. They're an explosive attacking team. We have to respond in kind. We have to maintain our high level of focus if we do get an early goal. So I think the term that we talk about a lot is critical moments. The first part of a game after goals are scored, restarts. Those areas we're going to have to be very, very good tonight.
Well, looking forward to seeing how it all works out. Let's hope we can get 2 wins in a row. Good luck.
Awesome. Thanks.
More when we come back on BWYellowJackets.com. Kyle, your thoughts on what Reed Ayers shared before the game tonight?
I mean, in terms of the crew possibly leaving Ohio, it's a big thing. And, as a kid when I was growing up, I used to love watching the crew. So, it definitely impacts a lot of people here in terms of how they view soccer. In terms of the men's national team, it's, like Reed said, it's heartbreaking. I think we don't hold the same standards of soccer players in this country as we do, say, football players such as Tom Brady. We have to, at some point, be able to say, this guy, Michael Bradley is a perfect example for the national team. He did not perform in that game against Trinidad and Tobago, and everyone's sitting here kind of saying, "Oh, he's still an okay player." No, the bottom line is he played like garbage. I mean, there's no other way around it. And at some point, as a country, we have to sit there and say, we have to put pressure on our national team in terms of soccer. And if we don't, it's going to be another year in and year out kind of thing where we don't qualify. We have a lot of good young talent. Christian Pulisic is a perfect example, playing over in Germany, and he's creating a ton of problems for, defenses in the German league. So it's not a terms of players, it's a term of the fans. Can we hold them accountable to the same level that we hold, LeBron James accountable? So
it'll be interesting. There's no doubt it is the talk of the town nationally.
Yeah, it definitely is.
That is for sure, and obviously the hope is that this can be rock bottom and that U.S. men's national team can use this as a relaunching point and figure things out from there.
We hope.
More focus on the Heidelberg game tonight in front of us when we come back. We're going to pause here for just a moment because we're about to have the national anthem. So out of respect, we'll wait for that to be over. But when we come back, we'll have our opening kick. Heidelberg and BW in a big one tonight at Finnie Stadium here on BWYellowJackets.com. All right, we're ready to go tonight as the teams have taken the field. And our national anthem has concluded. If you joined us a little bit late, this is a big game tonight. Heidelberg got off to a terrific start. They won 9 consecutive games to open the year before tying Mount Union in a scoreless draw back on October 7th. And then this past week, they kind of took one on the chin, losing to Otterbein 3-0 and then to Ohio Northern 4-0. Ohio Northern, who has typically been a really strong team in this conference, having a bit of a down year, but they got a big win. Ohio Northern is only 2-3 in OAC play, but that big win against Heidelberg was a meaningful one. Jackets and Student Princes have taken the field, and of note for Heidelberg, freshman Corey Gilbert, their right attacking forward, has come out as a starter tonight. Not sure how long he'll play, but he is at least going to give it a go. He's been bothered by a right knee injury. Christian Kiesel, a senior forward from Tiffin, will likely see a lot of time in Gilbert's place. But for the Yellow Jackets tonight, it's Patrick Mihal in goal, David Elson, JT Tobenik, Michael Simodi, and Jake Woodruff across the back, Jeremy Faust, Bryce Posner, and Joey Geither in the middle, Danny Ruppel, Logan Davis, and Rafael Davalos up top. And we are underway this evening. W in the white and gold striped shirts, Heidelberg in orange and black. Seems appropriate. I know it's probably a joke they hear once in a while, but Halloween's coming. It seems appropriate late October that Jackets and Student Princes would play each other. Heidelberg will have senior Jake Kress in goal. He wears the captain armband, and he's been very good this year. 12 goals allowed in 12 games played. Jared Chavez, Garrett McAfee, Anthony Raimondo, and Horace Schroff from left to right across their defensive back line. Also playing a 4-3-3, their 3 midfielders, Alexis Mendoza, Kiki Alvarado, and Leo Robles. And their 3 attacking forwards will be Joseph Tellerico, Rodrigo Meza, and Corey Gilbert at the outset. Heidelberg working right to left here in the opening half. Kyle, how about, in your opinion, a couple keys to the game? I know we heard from Reed Ayers, but what do you want to see the Jackets kind of focus on here early in this game tonight?
Yeah, I want to see the Jackets not concede early. The past few games have done pretty well with that, but it tends to be when it happens 1 or 2 games in the season, it becomes, in my opinion, a recurring problem. So I'd like to see them not give away early goals, and I'd like to see them possess the ball a bit more. I think that's going to be the key to this game is if they control the tempo, Heidelberg's not going to know what to do with themselves. The games that Heidelberg's won, they've controlled everything. So
throw-in coming for Heidelberg. Launched in by Tellerico. And on one hop, BW is kind of caught in a bad spot. I have a feeling Mihal probably wanted that one, and instead Tobenik stepped in front and touched it out of bounds. So Kiki Alvarado trots over to the corner to take the Knights' first corner kick. A couple minutes into the action, no score. I mentioned we talked with Reed Ayers ahead of time. Pat Savilic, head coach at Heidelberg in his second year. Great ball played into the middle. Danny Ruppel waiting there to pull it away, and he pokes it ahead. Applying a little pressure. Geither and Davalos on the far side. And a throw-in coming. Looks like they've made a late change, putting Danny Ruppel at right forward and moving Rafael over to the left side. Keep our eye on that. I'm sure there'll probably be some fluidity in that regard most of the night. Woodruff pushing ahead. Lays it off. It's a nice ball played toward the corner. But the Jackets lost possession of it. Maybe a chance here for Simodi. And a goal kick.
Hey, good work by Simodi. He's a natural midfielder. In his time here, he's played in the midfield position, and unfortunately for him, he's incurred multiple concussions last year. So last year was rough, but I'm glad that he's back on the field, and I like the fact that they're trying him out as center back. You know, he seems like he's doing a fantastic job so far. So, you know, congrats to him.
Well, they certainly need him to play well because BW's depth at center back this year has been tested as Gilbert tries to come across. Chance for Posner in the midfield. Wanted to thread that forward, but Garrett McAfee stepped in the way. Geither. Davis trying to just stay on side. Kind of had his momentum going the wrong way. Crest with a booming kick down the field. By the way, in terms of our playing conditions tonight, we are in the 5th minute, and there is no score. It is a cool night, but I don't know if I would say it's a cold night. You definitely want to have a jacket on. At the moment, temperature is actually still 61 degrees, although the sun set just about 25 minutes ago. All played through the top of the box, untouched. Danny Ruppel with a nice job defensively to come over and grab that. Good work. Wind is blowing fairly steadily, about a 12-mile-an-hour wind tonight coming out of the southwest.
It's a beautiful night for soccer, though.
This is what fall college soccer is usually supposed to feel like. Headed in the top of the box, Robles. Mihal came and got it. Heidelberg is trying to limit Baldwin Wallace's counterattack tonight. Pat Savilik told me before the game, in reference to slowing down Danny Ruppel, that he just wanted to try and frustrate him in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game and not let him get some confidence early on. It should be noted that Ruppel's statistics this year, at times, he's had really good games, and at times he's been totally taken out of play. And so I wondered, with Pat Savilik, I wondered how opposition had, at times found a way to kind of shut him down. For example, the John Carroll game last week, Danny only had one shot the whole game. But when he played Muskingum last weekend, he scored 3 goals in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And so it's kind of an interesting storyline to follow. Quickly, though, Heidelberg has a real chance early on, and they take the lead. Nope, the offside flag went up. Heidelberg Student Princes sure thought they had an early goal from Joseph Tellerico, but one of our assistant referees on the far side waved the flag. That is Michael Pugh on the far side. John Talley, the assistant referee near side. Austin Ciani is our head official tonight. BW catches an early break, although a bad turnover in a tough spot. And Heidelberg, a great save, can't take the lead immediately. We'll talk about rising to the occasion. Pat Mihal with a great job.
Yeah, and Pat does a good job making sure he comes off the back line and make sure that, any ball thread through is basically untouchable for their offense.
I didn't mean to cut you off earlier, but thought we were going to have the game's first goal.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, BW got lucky. It's as simple as that. They got lucky that the referee called the offsides. So, I mean, that would have been a really hard thing for them to come back from. A 1-0 deficit within the first 7 minutes is tough. So,
Ruppel in hot pursuit, they send it out. BW has a throw-in coming.
yeah, and you talked about, Heidelberg trying to limit Danny's chances at scoring. And the thing with Danny is, when he doesn't have the chances, he realizes that, and he turns it into an assisting kind of game for himself. So
he's got plenty of those to his credit, too. But Ruppel has an open shot, and he just missed it wide left. Deflected off of a Student Prince out of bounds. And so the Yellow Jackets line up for their first corner kick of the night.
And all credit to Danny because he's a natural left-footed player, and to strike that with his right foot, as he just did, is fantastic on his part because that was a very clean and well-struck ball.
Valos on the little chip toward the top of the box. Samodi got his head on it. Still in a dangerous spot till Tellerico sent it way up into the air. Meza couldn't get away from the last of the back line as David Elson came to the rescue. Baldwin Wallace, 5 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws on the season. It's been a frustrating stretch for them, even though they won at Muskingum on Saturday. It was their first win since September 23rd against Defiance. It's been a very trying stretch, and yet, if the Jackets can get some momentum late in the season here, all they got to do is win the OAC tournament, and they'll grab the conference's automatic bid. Heidelberg certainly has that thought in mind. It's loose in front of the net and smashed home. Heidelberg on the board first. And the goal goes to Leo Robles, his second of the year. Jackets just couldn't get out of a dangerous place.
No, and some of that, comes as part of the back line trying to, quote-unquote, kill the ball out of danger when all you got to do is make solid contact. But, it happens, and BW's biggest thing now is can we go from here and get the next one. They're only down 1-0, so it's still a lead they can come back from.
We've seen BW at times this year really put together some nice runs. As the whistle blows, it's a foul against Tellerico. Chavez turns it over in the midfield. Valos over to Elson. Poked away. BW right now is not handling play in the midfield well. And they're giving Heidelberg really good chances to start runs. Freshman Corey Gilbert, who drew lots of praise fighting through that right knee injury from Pat Savilik before the game tonight. Misplayed into the middle, but possessed once more by Meza. Nice job stepping up from Simodi to jar that one out of there. Right into Kiki Alvarado, though. Looking for Gilbert. Instead, over to Tellerico. He's got an opening. He cracks it off the top of Mihal's hand over the top of the bar. Forward kick coming on a ball that otherwise probably would have found the back of the net.
Yeah, and BW's got to sort this back line out and pretty fast because they're giving Heidelberg a lot of chances early on. And, Reed talked about them being a shooting team and a scoring team. And, if they keep letting Heidelberg, sit in the box and get open shots like this, it's going to be a really long night for the other Jackets.
Heidelberg did fall out of the national top 25 with back-to-back losses last week, but they have also been dealing with some injuries to their upperclassmen and feel like maybe they're coming out of it here. Alvarado from the corner, and Mihal, who got nudged on the way down, drew the whistle. I think he got hit in the face. It was unintentional, but Mihal got hit pretty hard. And he's still laying on his back. The clock does not stop whining. He's able to get up, and all is well.
Yeah, at least he's okay. If you talk to the players, they love all their goalkeepers, but the thing that they love most with Mihal in goal is he really organizes the back line and everybody else on the field. So, losing that quality definitely becomes a debt to lose because it just really just reaps into you and it's like, I don't know what to do anymore. So, they'll be glad that Mihal's up and well.
Heidelberg throwing in on the far side. And a foul goes against the Student Princes. If you joined us late, Leo Robles put in his second goal of the year in the 10th minute. It was just about 3.5 minutes of go. And Heidelberg has a 1-0 edge. Heidelberg seems to be a little bit more well organized tonight. Seems like Baldwin Wallace has been too reactive here as opposed to proactive in the early part of this game. Robles lays it off. It was a heavy touch from Meza, or else maybe he would have gotten off a clean look.
Yeah, you talked about him.
BW.
You know, talked about him being reactive, and they definitely have been. They've kind of let Heidelberg dictate what's going to happen, and as a result, they're down 1-0. And so the biggest key for BW right now is going to be, can we be more proactive and go from here and dictate how we're going to play and make them play the way we want to play. So
almost a quarter hour in, trying to free up Danny Ruppel, but the defense held him up well. Jared Chavez back to Alvarado. McAfee with the left foot ahead. Robles got turned around. Calm, cool night at George Finnie Stadium so far. Heidelberg scores early and takes a 1-0 lead. Chavez. Well, he squared his shoulders. He wanted to let it rip from about 35 yards out. He just couldn't quite pull the trigger. And so he lays it off into the back line to the right side. That's a yellow jacket foul. It's called on Joey Geither as Rodrigo Mesa was trying to control the ball with his back to the net. And it sets up a good-looking free kick opportunity for Heidelberg.
yeah, and that might have been on the softer side of fouls to call, but it's a foul nonetheless.
Alvarado, the short free kick toward the corner. Here's a great look from Robles, and it's deflected quickly and immediately. People headed it forward, hoping that Geither could run after it. Baldwin Wallace needs wins, and they are running out of time if they want to qualify for this year's OAC tournament. Heidelberg very much part of that competition. They don't have a whole lot of room to spare, to be honest. Otterbein, John Carroll, Marietta, and Capital right now, the top 4 teams in the league. That was well held off by JT Tobenik. Otterbein unbeaten in conference play. John Carroll 4-1. Their only loss is to Heidelberg. In fact, that's John Carroll's only loss of the season. Marietta and Capital both 3-2 in the conference, but you've got Heidelberg and Mount Union both at 2-1, and at the moment they're in playoff position as Davalos has his ball deflected out. Ohio Northern hot on their tails at 2-3. Then you have Wilmington and Baldwin Wallace both at 1-3-1. Muskingum does not have a win in the OAC. They're 0-5, and they pretty much are putting themselves in a must-win and get-help scenario here from this point forward. The Jackets are not far from being in that same conversation as Muskingum. They have to win tonight, considering they're playing one of the teams that is most close to them in the standings. In some of the OAC tournaments, 8 teams make it, in some 4, and in some 6. And for soccer, it is a 6-team tournament. 6 seed plays the 3 seed, the 4 and the 5 seeds play each other. And the 1 and 2 seeds get byes to the semifinals. The OAC tournament coming up in the final week of October and leaking into the first week of November, with the championship set for Saturday, November 4th. Davalos helps win the throw-in. No-look pass, poorly executed, out of bounds. 27 minutes, 28 seconds left in the first half, so we've only played for about 18 minutes. Heidelberg leads 1-0 on Leo Robles' second goal of the year.
Yeah, and Reed talked before the game about chemistry between Michael Snowball and Danny Ruppel, but I think something that is kind of underlying is the chemistry between Danny and Joey Geither. They've played together since they were kids, so it'd be interesting to see tonight, especially.
How about that shot? Just a little off target, wide right. Didn't mean to cut you off, but we nearly had a great look from the top of the 18 from David Elson.
Yeah, and then what I was saying was Danny Ruppel and Joey Geithner played together for almost their entire life, so it'd be interesting to see how they can create things for themselves, because Joey last year played in the back and wasn't really a connecting factor with Danny, but now with Joey being in the midfield, he can really connect with Danny and possibly produce a tremendous amount of assists to Danny. So
you're right, the two of them have been big offensive spark plugs this year, and obviously their familiarity with each other has helped. Woodruff tackled by Tillerico. BW cognizant that it's still early in the game, but recognizing they don't want to let opportunities slip through their fingers, and after giving up a 10th minute goal to Robles and the Heidelberg Student Princes, you got to be careful to not waste offensive opportunities. Elson left foots it to Ruppel, too strong on the touch, but the shot, diving stop by Kress. Beautiful play. Another good look from well outside the box. That time Logan Davis let it fly, and Kress made his first real good save of the night.
Yeah, it was a well-struck ball by Logan Davis. Congrats to him for putting so much power and accuracy on the ball, because he really made Kress, take a look at it and be like, I don't think I can catch this. So congrats to him. We just got to, for BW, has to learn how to follow it up almost right away. So
Heidelberg is qualified for 5 consecutive OAC tournaments. Last year, the team had 7 wins, 10 losses, and a tie, but they went 4-4-1 in the OAC under Pat Savilic. So already with 9-2-1 on their ledger here this season, it's already been a better year in year 2 for Savilic, who came to Heidelberg after spending some time at Notre Dame College, Division II school just across the way here in Cleveland. Nice little tapper ahead. Geithner toward the corner. Valos looking in the middle. Ruppel lurking. It comes right to Danny's feet and he slips it past. That's a school record 17th goal for Danny Ruppel. We're tied at 1, 20 minutes in.
yeah, congrats to Danny. Setting another or tying the school record, or getting 17 goals in a season is something that's very hard for any player to do, and he's only a sophomore. So he's got another 2 years under his belt here before he finishes college, and maybe if not this year or the next 2 years, he'll break the school record and heck, set even higher one.
He's already broken the record for points in a season, but now he has eclipsed the 16 goals that Carlin Vandendriech had in 2011, and he is the lone school record holder with 17 goals this season. A tremendous accomplishment for, you're right, a young player that has been awfully special. BW is looking forward to the next couple of years with him, and I'm quite certain the rest of the conference is not.
Yeah.
Logan Davis touches it ahead, just over Ruppel's short stature. Alvarado denied on his through ball.
Yeah, you talked about Danny being an asset for BW and a detriment for other teams, and for past players. He almost is similar to a Ohio Northern Matt Kinkoff, who was very good his entire time in college and was a very big goal scoring threat all 4 years in college. So maybe Danny can even surpass him.
There's been some pretty solid soccer talent in the OAC the last several years. I think both Reed Ayers and Pat Savilic would agree that for a long time the conference in men's D3 college soccer in Ohio. The OAC has gotten awfully good the last 3 or 4 years. Heidelberg would tell you their biggest win of the season probably came, if it wasn't against John Carroll, it probably came against Kenyon in double overtime at Kenyon. Beating Denison, beating Kenyon. A couple of other schools that play regionally certainly have given Heidelberg a real chance to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large team if they don't win the OAC tournament. Hard foul near midfield, and it's going to draw a stern finger wagging from our head referee to Garrett McAfee. No card though.
Yeah, that was a really rough tackle, and it's kind of a tactical thing, and McAfee is kind of gonna hit Danny probably maybe one more time to get him off his game and possibly make him non-existent for the next couple minutes.
Elson across, off Ruppel's forehead. And a nice job by Kress to come out and get it. "24 minutes into our action tonight. Heidelberg and Baldwin Wallace all tied at 1. Cohen coming for the Student Princes. Nice Yellow Jacket soccer game brought to you by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products. They're a global recycling company. By the Ohio Education Credit Union. Get the advantage and build your future today. And by Domino's Pizza in Berea. Call them at 891-0030 or go online at domino's.com. Patrick Mihal. Nicely done by Taylorico. Woodruff to throw in. Faust plays it high into the air. Once again, BW on the near side. Neither team has used a substitute in the first half. We're seeing a little bit more from Corey Gilbert than I think we expected. Perhaps that means he's feeling. Obviously, don't want to see anybody unable to go. The competitive side of me says I'm glad he's okay. Simodi with a nice ball played ahead. Gilbert comes all the way back. He was last to touch that one out of bounds. Leo Robles scored in the 10th minute. Danny Ruppel scored in the 21st, and we are tied at 1, under 20 minutes to go in the first half. Into the box and a whistle. And it's a foul on Baldwin Wallace.
Yeah, and you talked about Gilbert being in for a little bit longer than we had originally expected, but I almost wonder if it's almost time to give him the sub. He hasn't really for Heidelberg. So I wonder if Pat Savillik's kind of sitting there saying, do we let him go and finish it out, or do we, get some fresh legs in there and maybe create some more problems for the BW back line?
Meanwhile, Michael Snowball waits to check in. And we have our first sub of the night. It's Snowball for Logan Davis. This is where Yellow Jacket fans, I think, can get excited because Snowball, Ruppel, and Geither all on the field at the same time. When you've got electrifying play up front, it can certainly create for some big opportunities. Those are young players that are really playing well together. Meanwhile, Heidelberg on a very quick counter, and they draw a corner kick.
Yeah, and you talked about, the 3 young players being very dynamic and problematic for other teams, and Michael Snowball has proved it, and Danny's obviously proved it by scoring 17 goals in a single season, and Joey's even proved it by scoring the number of goals he has when he's not even a natural forward.
Alexis Mendoza on the corner kick. Heidelberg quickly put the shot on goal. It was nicely saved by Mihal. Denied to Robles his second of the night. Mendoza, a young man from El Paso, Texas. Here's Danny Ruppel. Couldn't quite curl it past the defense. Snowball waiting far side. Long ball played ahead. Meza runs underneath it. Tellerico. Bad touch. BW defensively trying to reorganize here. Good work from Robles. He earns a throw. They put Woodruff back at right back here. Tellerico snuck around him, but Simodi was there. In the meantime, foul was whistled. The foul was on Woodruff.
Yeah, you know, you talk about young players, but I think a player for BW that you don't hear much talk about that's young is Bryce Posner. You know, he's started a lot of games as a freshman, and he's pulled his own weight and done a fantastic job in the midfield. So I think, you know, maybe not this year, but next year you'll be hearing some more talks about him and how well he's playing too.
BW on the counter, sending it ahead, and Ruppel trying to race underneath it. Good defense from Boris Schroff to work it away from the middle of the field. 15:40 and counting in the first half. Heidelberg and Baldwin Wallace tied at 1. All right, a corner kick for the Jackets. Looks like Ruppel takes it to the corner, but he'll let Davalos actually send it in.
Yeah, this is an opportunity that BW has to capitalize on. If they don't, then they go. I mean, a corner is a very vital opportunity to score goals.
Davalos into the middle. Saved right along the edge by Kress and Jared Chavez. Both made a great leaping effort as Baldwin Wallace has a chance for a second look here. Chavez with a great leaping header.
Yeah. You know, like I was talking about, they need to capitalize, and they may not capitalize in that corner, but they definitely put the Heidelberg back line under a lot of pressure to force a possible goal.
Ruppel curls one into the middle. Kress came out and grabbed it. And Heidelberg wanted to quickly get the ball up the field. 31st minute, tied at 1. Ruppel with a great touch, and he was fouled as he tried to slip through the defense. Chavez saying, "What do you want me to do?"
Yeah, but that's a smart foul by, you know, Chavez, and I mean it's either for in terms of defense, you know, let Danny through and potentially give up a goal, or follow him there and, you know, have a better chance of not conceding a goal.
Ruppel with that strong left foot. Great ball into the middle. Diving effort from Tabanek. It stays in bounds. Ruppel has a second chance to center it. Pinballs around a little bit. Heidelberg's weathered the storm for the moment. But Elson is slicing through the defense and is tackled right at the top of the box. No foul. Elson pleading his case. Heidelberg works it out of danger. A great creative run by Elson, denied quickly. It's getting a little bit colder and a little breezier as the night continues to progress. Out of bounds off Heidelberg. He joined us late alongside former Yellow Jacket Kyle Klimo and Brendan Gulick. Danny Ruppel's 21st minute goal, a new school record, his 17th of the year, and it ties the game at 1 apiece. Both teams, for different reasons, desperate for wins here before the end of the year. How about that deflection and a save from Kress? What an athletic effort! Jay Kress maybe just made his best save of the year.
Yeah, great shot from Posner. One touch, and those are some of the most beautiful goals ever to be scored in the game of soccer. One touch finishes, but a lot of times you see him inside the box, and Bryce hit that at the top of the box and almost chipped the keeper.
Yellow Jackets have a big corner kick opportunity. Timmy Jonas has just checked in. He's had a nice season. Looks like he's replaced one of the midfielders. Loose in the cage, right in the middle. And a foul whistled against BW. Sounds like Heidelberg also made a sub. Malachi Alston has checked in for Joe Tallarico. Timmy Jonas checked in for Bryce Posner. Ten minutes, 35 seconds to go in the first half. Tied at 1 apiece. Corey Gilbert, who leads Heidelberg with 6 goals on the season, has been largely held in check tonight.
That he has, and to be honest, he really hasn't produced anything. I mean, BW's done a very fantastic job of shutting him down and making sure that he can't create or score chances. So,
Robles, good working effort, but Faust forced it out of bounds. It's a short goal kick. Jonas did not connect. Good idea for Davalos. Off target. Woodruff needs some help. Good pressure from Davalos and Woodruff. Causes a turnover with Geither on the ball. Geither wins it back after the turnover. Still fighting for it, and Robles pulls him off. Official says play on. Robles let that one roll out. Alston was racing after it. Ran out of time. Wow, terrific closing speed from Rodrigo Mesa. But good work there from BW's Michael Snowball. Draws the foul.
yeah, and you talk about, Reed talked about Michael Snowball's reading of the game at such a young age, and that's a perfect example. He saw Mesa closing him down and put himself in between the ball and Mesa and forced a foul. So Congrats to Michael Snowball again for reading the game beautifully, just like he usually does.
Davalos keeps it inbounds. From a really tough angle, the deflection almost found a jacket foot. Heidelberg living on borrowed time. They have somewhat miraculously come away with a couple of big saves in the last few minutes as Cannon Dees checks in for Davalos. We're also seeing Gilbert check out here, being replaced by Christian Kiesel. And one other substitution brings Rodrigo Mesa off the pitch. We'll get you his sub in just a moment. Looks like sophomore Alex Aviles has come in for Heidelberg. 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. So Kiesel and Aviles for Heidelberg in the 38th minute. Cannon Dees comes on as well for Rafael Davalos. Ball had some backspin on it, kind of checked up, preventing Heidelberg with a great look. Instead, Aviles rolls it into the middle and it slips on through. Heidelberg takes a 2-1 lead, put in by Malachi Alston, the freshman from Germany. Alston with his first career goal, and it puts Heidelberg out front 2-1.
Yeah, that's just a defensive breakdown in my opinion. Jake Woodruff gets caught stepping to the ball and leaves Aviles open, and Aviles has all the time in the world to get his head up and look, and plays a beautiful ball across the box, and Malachi does a fantastic job of making sure it goes in the back of the net. So congrats to Heidelberg, but BW's got to clean it up just a little bit.
Dees and Ruppel. Great touch. Dees into the middle. Ruppel running back after it, but Dees drew the foul prior to the play finishing. And Baldwin Wallace with 5:30 and counting will have a free kick just outside of the 18. Heidelberg has been kind of foul prone. That's their 8th of this first half. Ruppel, Jonas, and Dees all staying over top of it. Heidelberg tries to spread out, and Jake Kress measures where he wants that wall to start.
And, Diaz does a fantastic job of drawing the foul there. You don't see him with a lot of play time, but when he does play, boy, does he make an impact. He changed the game.
Ruppel with the left foot just off the top, and a goal kick coming. Jake Kress over the top of the bar.
And like I was saying, Dees does a fantastic job of making sure that when he steps on the field, that the game is going to be dictated the way he wants it to play, and he showed a perfect example of that just now, of drawing a foul.
Ruppel with the left foot, and a great job by Kress with authority coming out and grabbing it. 4:18 and counting in the first half. Baldwin Wallace was right on the doorstep, but could not put it in. Kress hits a tremendous ball downfield, but it was not controlled well, and for a moment Heidelberg almost had a great look.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it too, Heidelberg has created a lot of chances from aerial balls penetrating the BW back line, and when the balls have been played through on the ground, BW's caught them up and stopped everything. So BW gotta keep making sure that they adjust to the aerial ball too.
Good defense from Geither as Alexis Mendoza tried to work around him. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first half. Mendoza's throw in, leaping header, and it's knocked away. They'll chance for Schroff. Pulled out.
You know, I'm all sure we're sitting here and at home, you know, wondering or thinking that BW's created so many chances, and, you know, are they going to put another one in the back of the net? And I would love to see them put one in the back of the net before halftime comes around, because then that makes this game even more interesting than it already is. You know, 2-1 lead for Heidelberg going into the half at the moment, you know, as it stands, but BW has a very good chance to make it 2-2, and
Heidelberg nearly made it 3-1 with a goal there.
yeah, BW's got to lock that down and make sure that, you know, that kind of stuff doesn't happen. But I think if BW gets another goal going into the half, they then can sit back and say, we've done our job so far offensively. Can we clean up the back line? And hopefully things will turn out for them the way that they need to.
Well, now they're under 2 minutes remaining before that halftime intermission. Sure would love to add one before the halftime break, but not sure how viable that is yet. Creativity from Faust. Dees wants to get it forward. Finds Snowball on the far side. Alvarado tackled. 1:16 and counting. No booking. And Alvarado decides to walk forward just to kill some time. We're at the 1 minute mark. Heidelberg 2, Baldwin Wallace 1. Malachi Alston with his first career goal. And right now, it is the difference in a 2-1 game. .45 seconds. Jonas in the midfield. Lobs it high ahead. Kress measured it well. 35 seconds as he glances over his shoulder to look at that clock. Kress has been one of the more impressive keepers I've seen all season, both in terms of his athletic ability and his organization of his back line. He's made a couple of highlight reel saves so far tonight.
That he has, and he's done a fantastic job keeping that the Heidelberg team in this game and making sure that, you know, Danny, for example, hasn't scored every time that he's gotten his chance to.
We've reached halftime. Baldwin Wallace trailing 2-1 in a competitive and honestly really fun to watch game. Both teams playing with a lot of energy and good tempo, but Heidelberg right now on the road has the lead. BW outshot Heidelberg 8-7 in the first half. They took one additional shot on goal, but Jake Kress made all 5 saves that he needed to, and only let one by him from Danny Ruppel. Both teams committed single-digit fouls, though it was a fairly foul-heavy first. Baldwin Wallace did draw 5 corner kicks. Danny Ruppel's 17th goal of the season, a new school record, the highlight of the first half. Jackets trail 2-1 at the break. We'll be back with the second half in about 15 minutes on BWYellowJackets.com.
tonight's men's soccer results and all other Yellowjacket athletic results can be accessed at the BW Athletic website at bwyellowjackets.com. Results are posted usually within an hour after most events. And tonight's men's soccer game will be streamed live with play-by-play by Brendan Buick on the BW Athletic website, which is also at bwyellowjackets.com. All home men's soccer broadcasts can be viewed on the BW Athletic website. Wanted to wish congratulations to freshman 26er Brandon Coleman for being named OAC Special Teams Player of the Week for the first time in his career.
You need something?
I was just gonna ask, do you think I can sit in the other box but the speaker seems to get in the way every time I turn it? This one here? Yeah.
Just about to start the second half tonight as Baldwin Wallace and Heidelberg have played to a 2-1 game so far with the visiting Student Princes out in front. I thought they played a really solid first half, and the 2 goals they scored were certainly well deserved, but Baldwin Wallace probably felt like they were a little more at fault in breaking down defensively when those goals were put in. Along with Kyle Klimo, I'm Brendan Gulick. This is a night where the Yellow Jackets are kind of facing a must-win scenario. They've won 1 game, lost 3, and tied once in their first of 5 OAC games. And the fact of the matter is they're just kind of running out of time here with this OAC schedule to pick up wins that could put them in the OAC tournament. After tonight, BW will play at Otterbein. They will be off on Saturday because they're playing Otterbein on Friday. And the next week, the Yellow Jackets host Ohio Northern and they host Capital. There really are only a couple of games left in the regular season that could put them into postseason conversation. So they, in a game where they're playing at home and they have a little momentum because they have played well tonight, even though they're losing on the scoreboard, I think it's fair to say this is a must-win game for BW.
Yeah, it definitely is. Their record shows a little different things than how they've actually performed in terms of playing style. They've played pretty well, but obviously results dictate everything, and sometimes the results just don't come to you. But other than that, they've played well, and this is a game that they're thinking we have to win this, and they're going to come out the second half and hopefully score a handful of goals and put Heidelberg really on their heels.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Student Princes, who have a 2-1 lead, also have 3 games remaining. They've got a road trip to Marietta on Saturday. Then they go home to play Capital, who's had a great year. And they finish the year at home against the Wilmington Quakers, who have not played particularly well this year. Heidelberg trying to quickly initiate and start the second half. And they've drawn a corner kick with this 2-1 lead and a real chance to add to it in the opening couple of minutes. We're 90 seconds into play here after halftime. We saw BW defensively do a pretty good job with Heidelberg's leading goal scorer, Corey Gilbert, in that first half. He really didn't do a whole lot, and at the start of the second half, Gilbert is in there. He's standing right next to the goal. Headed straight down. Gilbert, with the ball at his feet, rips a shot. It was nicely blocked by Jeremy Faust. An update from what else is going on around the conference tonight, because it is a full schedule in the OAC this evening. Wilmington is in Ada, where the Ohio Northern Polar Bears have a 2-0 lead at halftime. Capital and Marietta are scoreless at the intermission. Mount Union, late in the first half, has a 1-0 lead over Muskingum. And John Carroll is at Otterbein tonight. That game is scoreless early in the second half. They've just gotten that second half underway. Of note tonight for BW, their only goal came in the 21st minute. It was the 17th of the year by Danny Ruppel. That is a new school record. He tied Carlin Vandendriesch with his 16th goal and part of a wild hat-trick game against Muskingum on Saturday. Danny, hold on a second. There are 2 balls on the field. They'll have to redo that. Danny scored 3 goals in 2 minutes and 29 seconds against Muskingum. He scored in consecutive minutes of play, the 64th, 65th, and 66th minutes. It's pretty remarkable. But anyways, those were his 14th, 15th, and 16th goals of the year. And with tonight's 17th goal of the season, he has now eclipsed the school record. Meanwhile, hard foul by Logan Davis. He doesn't get a yellow card, but I think Austin Signani basically said, look, man, enough's enough. The next time I'm going to be forced to put you in the book.
Yeah, and I think, that foul's not as hard as it came across to be. I think Logan was trying to go for a ball and either went in a second too early or a second too late and flipped him. So, it's a foul nonetheless, but...
Or Schroff's service played to the top of the box and headed out. Kiki Alvarado with great closing speed. But Davalos might have a chance here. Rolled out of bounds off his foot. Too bad. Give Heidelberg some credit, too, when referencing Danny Ruppel. His goal was certainly a good one, but it came in a scenario where Baldwin Wallace had to sort of build up something, and they had a long pass in from the corner, and then the ball was kind of killed at Bryce Posner's feet, and he just sort of kind of touched it off to Danny right in front of the middle of the net. He put away a no doubter. But it wasn't because Ruppel was just off and streaking ahead. And to Heidelberg's credit tonight, they really haven't let him get in a position where he can single-handedly create that kind of a scoring chance. And that's what some of the teams in the conference have been able to do to him.
Yeah, for Danny, it's kind of a different scenario than most guys. Danny's a natural-born goal scorer, so he's going to go, get the goals when they're opportunity for him. But in terms of people shutting him down, a lot of times, especially with this game, you'll notice that it kind of more relies on fouling to an extent. Heidelberg has had a number of fouls, and a number of those fouls have been on Danny to kind of stop him from being able to run. A lot of teams know that as soon as Danny gets that top pace going at you, it's almost impossible to catch up to or even stop. So, that's why with Danny it becomes he's a very detrimental player for other teams.
As long as you don't get put in the book, fouls don't really seem to matter. You can certainly have a good foul to that idea. You're right. That one goes out of bounds and stays with the men in orange. Heidelberg attacking left to right in the second half. 38 minutes and 28 seconds left in our in regulation tonight. BW trying to get it out of the way, and it turns into a great shot and a beautiful goal. That was the exact thing that Baldwin Wallace was trying to avoid. It's Rodrigo Meza with his 4th of the year, and it puts Heidelberg in a great spot with a 3-1 lead. The fact is, the Jackets just didn't get it out of danger. They let Heidelberg stay around, and when Meza found an opening, he took it and smashed it into the top right corner.
Yeah, on that goal, it's obviously it didn't get cleared, but it kind of comes with a mentality of, at least from the back line, or when you're in your own defensive half, like they were, when you're trying to win a ball out of the air like they were, you kind of got to go into it expecting to win it no matter what, even if you end up getting fouled or minorly hurt.
Another good chance for the Student Princes. Meza gets it back. That one was struck off to the left and a diving stop by Pat Mehall. By the way, we also had a substitution right as that goal was being scored. Or I should say right after it was scored. Jared Chavez has checked out at his left back spot, replaced by freshman defender Chase Paulson, young man from San Clemente, California, who was questionable at the start of tonight's game. Danny Ruppel nearly made this a 3-2 affair. That was the first time he's really had a good chance on a running effort. But Kress came out, pressured him, and that time it was advantage Kress.
Yeah, and good work from Posner to put the ball, splitting the two center backs for Danny to run onto it.
Kyle, there's talk all the time about how 2-1 can be such a dangerous score. With Heidelberg scoring in the opening 7 minutes of this second half, and now opening up a 2-goal advantage at 3-1. Interested to see how BW starts to press a little bit, because they know their foot has to be on the gas all night long, and if they start to relax at all, this one's going to get away from them quickly. I'm interested to see how their organization, especially in the midfield, where tonight they just haven't communicated well and have given Heidelberg some really good chances to start running plays halfway up the field already.
Yeah, that kind of comes from, from a defensive standpoint. The Yellow Jackets have tried to influence a style of defending that starts with your front three. So it starts from Danny, it starts from Logan, it starts from Raphael. If those three don't do their job well enough to put enough pressure where Heidelberg will screw up a pass eventually, then that becomes problematic, and that's what's kind of turned into today is, defensively from the front line, BW hasn't done that fantastic of a job. They've done a solid job defending from the front, but not as good as they would like it to be. So from that point, they kind of have to sort it out and win balls more up front like Logan is right now, and go from there.
Davis committed the foul. Heidelberg had the advantage, so our referee said play on. And on this ball played in from Elson, Kress just came out and grabbed it himself. 10 minutes gone in the second half, so we're in the 55th minute. Heidelberg 3, BW 1. Brendan Gulick and Kyle Klimo with you on a cold but breezy night, and otherwise clear skies at George Finnie Stadium. Davis was fouled, and BW sets up a free kick here. Jackets haven't had much going offensively here since halftime. It's time to get rolling with Tomanek taking this free kick. Just touches it to Elson, who blows by Gilbert. Elson continues to make his way up with the left foot. Well, that was a good little effort. David Elson, a couple times tonight, has had some real creative plays, but he hasn't put it in yet. And again, wanted Davalos to run it down, but Chase Paulson will hold Davalos off in that corner. Leo Robles, Malachi Alston, and Rodrigo Mesa. 3 goals tonight for Heidelberg. Coming in the 10th, 39th, and 52nd minutes of play.
Yeah, you talked about a 2-goal lead being a dangerous one, and so far it's not looking that dangerous for Heidelberg.
Well, I was referencing more of a 2-1 score being dangerous. A 2-goal lead is more comfortable.
Actually, it's a little bit more dangerous in my opinion because teams tend to settle in.
Okay.
And that's when they turn things over.
Well, BW is on the verge here of letting this one get blown open. Tomanek may have just saved the season there for a moment. I don't think that's an overstatement. If BW loses this game, there's a pretty good chance they could be up against it for the OAC tournament. Offside flag went up. Ohio Northern with a 2-0 lead over Wilmington in the 50th minute of action. Capital Marietta still at halftime. Mount Union has added a goal against Muskingum. They now lead 2-0 late in the first half. And John Carroll has scored on the road. Jacob Lombardo from Hayden Parente. They lead Otterbein 1-0 in the 52nd minute. It's a big matchup between John Carroll and Otterbein. Those are the top two teams right now at the height of the OAC. Big game for both teams, just in terms of positioning in the conference. If they finish tied, go to the head-to-head for the overall top seed. John Carroll, the reigning champion, they still control their own destiny to a number 1 seed if they can win the rest of their games.
Yeah, you talk about John Carroll being the reigning champion of the OAC, and it definitely shows into this year as well that they have the confidence and sort of a swagger about them to be able to go out and win the games that they know they have to. And their only loss so far is to Heidelberg, and Heidelberg played really well in that game. So congrats to Heidelberg for that win. But John Carroll kind of took it as a wake-up call and has definitely improved from there. So good, congrats to John Carroll.
I mean, it's rare that you see a team go completely unbeaten. I mean, truth be told, that would just be an incredible season. And more often than not, silly things can happen in soccer, and sometimes it's just not your night. So to see Heidelberg beat John Carroll, by no means do I think it was a fluke, as this one gets lost in the corner, but I think it is at least worth pointing out that John Carroll is not insurmountable either. Ironically, most of that scoring came in the first half, and there was not a goal scored in that game after the 54th minute when John Carroll made it 3-2. Corey Gilbert scored twice. Rodrigo Mesa scored once in the win over the Blue Streaks. Ruppel with the left foot tried to play it into the middle of the box, but on the orange shoes on the way in. Now Danny to the backside of the formation. Geithner tried to keep it alive. Simone and Faust. And another giveaway at the 1 hour mark tonight. The whistle came late. The referee was waiting to see if Heidelberg would race after it or not. Leo Robles tackled in the midfield, and so a free kick coming for the Student Princes. Big chance for Heidelberg to add a backbreaker here. Still fairly early in the second half. Thankfully for BW, not much there. Danny Ruppel racing with Garrett McAfee, and McAfee took a great angle and cut him off. Elson. Well, I admire his gusto, but not sure that was his smartest play.
Yeah, I think David was trying to put a ball in, but I think he was a little rushed with the feeling of the pressure from the Heidelberg attacker, kind of putting him under pressure and making him kind of think to himself, I have to get this ball in soon, and it kind of turned out the way it did, and obviously Dave would have liked it to go a little bit better, but it's done, it's over with, so he's got to kind of forget about it and move on from there.
Christian Kiesel just checked in for Corey Gilbert. Wouldn't be surprised if Gilbert's night is over, although technically he could return. You have a 3-1 lead, and you've got a guy who's been out there most of the night. It's cold, and he's nursing a sore right knee. He's giving you his best effort, even though he hasn't factored much into the game. Just wouldn't surprise me if the coaching staff, obviously led by Pat Savillic, but just the coaching staff in general decided maybe that was enough. We'll find out if we see Gilbert again or not.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of an interesting point to bring up that Kiesel hasn't come in until just now.
Well, he played a little bit in the first half. Heidelberg with a great scoring chance. Oh my goodness, it's an own goal. Olsen tried to clear it away, and it bounced off the wrong side of his head. And Heidelberg has taken a 4-1 lead. And that has created a huge hole for Baldwin Wallace. .27 minutes, 24 seconds left in the game. Heidelberg had a fast break going, and after the long cross clearly missed its target, like Elson could knock it away. And unfortunately caught David on the wrong side of the head, and into the back of the net it went.
Yeah, those are the worst goals to give up. They're demoralizing for you as a player and just the team in general. And I think it'll be interesting to see how Dave kind of turns it around and sees how he goes about it from here, and see. Let's hopefully he'll turn it around and make it a lot better of a game for himself from here on out, because he's played really well so far.
You're right, Elson's been a huge contributor tonight. Another chance and another goal. Malachi Alston with his second of the night. It is 5-1 Heidelberg. In some regard, you don't really know what to say. It's just kind of falling apart.
I'm speechless, in all honesty. BW's played really well the first half, and the first 6 minutes of the game they played, or the second half, I should say, they played really well too. And after that first goal in the second half, it seems to have almost just fallen apart even more than it seemed it could have beforehand.
Heidelberg with a 5-1 lead. Just over 25 minutes to go. Rodrigo Mesa started the second half by scoring. He put his fourth of the year in. Then the own goal off David Elson, followed just over 60 seconds later by Malachi Alston's second career goal and second of the night. Good effort by Davis to hold Schroff off the ball. But Heidelberg right now is just kind of pouring it on. Navalos. Heidelberg wins it in the corner. And I think it's worth noting, look, Heidelberg's not going to try and be unsportsmanlike, but they need some style points if they're going to be considered as an at-large team in the NCAA tournament after falling out of the national top 25 this week. How about this ripped shot from up top from Posner, but deflects off to the side, and it's picked up. Student Princes had two lopsided shutout losses this week to Otterbein and Ohio Northern. And so they're going to need to really keep putting good things together if they don't win the OAC tournament, which they're in good position to get into. Not a guarantee yet, but they're in good shape to enter the OAC tournament. If they want to get in the NCAAs, they've got to pretty much avoid any disasters the rest of the year.
Yeah, and you talk about going to the NCAA and the term of being unsportsman, but I mean in the college game it's a results kind of game. So if Heidelberg is going to go up and they're going to keep scoring goals, it's not to be unsportsmanlike, it's to rack up their points.
Loose in the box. BW can't get it out of danger. Finally cleared away. Dominic. Nice footwork by Elson. It didn't turn into anything, but boy, it sure was a good effort. Geither played off the ball. He's fouled. Danny Rupa will take the free kick. 50 yards away from net. With some touch on it. Offside flag goes up as Kress went tumbling over a defender.
I wonder if that's a foul, too. Instead of an offsides. It doesn't really look like there was much of an offsides, but it does look like Kress kind of got hit hard enough to knock him off balance. I wonder if that's what's being called.
Well, he definitely leapt over the top of every other player. Hard to know for sure. Either way, flag went up on the far side. 21 minutes to go in a game that right now is not close. Heidelberg 5, Baldwin Wallace 1. Good defense in the corner from the Student Princes. That one was poorly touched by Faust. 3 Yellow Jackets waiting to check in on the far side as Faust steps in front. Cannon Dees, Michael Snowball, Cole McDaniel all standing over there looking rather chilly at the moment as they just stand there in this cold night.
And you kind of wonder, too, as, a player, coach, with the scoreline being as it is, more beneficial at this point to kind of relax and say what's the worst that can happen and play your style of, the game, or do you really want to try and play more direct and win the game? Obviously, BW's in a, quote-unquote, must-win situation to go to the tournament, but I mean at a 5-1 deficit with 19 minutes left in the game, or just over 19 and a half minutes left in the game, I would think it'd be almost more beneficial to kind of relax, play your kind of game, and maybe the results will come from that as opposed to just trying to play direct.
Well, you did note that time is not on BW's side, and so whatever they choose to do, they have to do it quickly. And Heidelberg will be in no rush, as they shouldn't be. McDaniel, along with Dees and Michael Snowball, all patiently waiting to come in. First, a throw in from the corner. Kind of a flat throw in. And here come those three new faces for Davalos. David Elson. And looks like Jake Woodruff is the third to sub off. So those three young guys all come out. Michael Alston right now, the player of the game. 2-goal performance tonight. First 2 goals of his collegiate career. Nice pass. Cannondees. Touches to Ruppel. And he tried to come back toward the middle, and Heidelberg was all over it. Here comes a throw in with 2 more subs on the way. Timmy Jonas and Garrett McHugh both checking in. First time we've seen Garrett McHugh in a while. He's been battling injuries as Samodi checks out, as well as Logan Davis. Jonas. Ruppel keeps it alive. And he gave up on it as Crest grabbed the ball.
Yeah, and you talked about, Garrett McHugh battling through injuries. He's had a really tough season, battling a concussion very early in the season. And then, from my understanding, getting a recurring one shortly in the game, in the Wilmington game. And I think it really changes everything because with Garrett and JT, their chemistry is almost unrivaled. I mean, I don't think I've met 2 center backs that play as well together as these 2 do. And with McHugh out, it's definitely caused issues for the Yellow Jacket back line. And it's kind of been somewhat evident in the past few games. They conceded 2 early against Grove City. They've conceded 5 here tonight, and I think the instability of players in the back line has created some issues for the Yellow Jackets. But I mean, that's the game of soccer. So you gotta, push through and trudge on.
Another great look here for Heidelberg. Alston bullying his way around, and another goal. Heidelberg has added their 6th of the night. Can you believe it? Alston has a hat trick. And that was the first one that Mihal probably felt like he really should have had. He just fumbled the ball right near the near post. A 3-goal performance tonight for Malachi Alston, who had never scored prior to tonight's game, but the freshman is having the game of his life. 6-1 Heidelberg.
Yeah, this is definitely a big game for Alston to remember and go down in history for him. Is probably one of the better games he's played in his entire career. Scored 3 goals against a team that Heidelberg probably felt was a team that they needed to beat in order to quote unquote clinch a spot in the OAC tournament. So congrats to Alston, and let's see if in the last 15 minutes the Yellow Jacket back line can kind of shut it out.
Well, they've got to clear the cobwebs here because it has definitely been a forgettable night. And I'm quite certain nobody on the BW side is going to want to talk about this one after the game is over. But while you could still somehow control the outcome, you've got to find a way here to just do something you can build on before BW has to go into this weekend and play against an Otterbein team on Friday night that is really good. And oh, by the way, right now, Otterbein still trailing John Carroll 1-0 in the 68th minute in Westerville. And if John Carroll beats Otterbein, then the Cardinals have every reason to come out pretty locked in because they could still control the number 2 seed in the tournament. Dees taps it ahead. Jonas pulls it away from Robles. That was not really on target. 14 minutes to play. Heidelberg 6, Baldwin Wallace 1.
You know, as I'm watching this game, I've kind of realized more and more that, as Reed Ayers talked about in the, pregame interview, that the Yellow Jackets wanted to dictate how this game goes, and at least up until now, it's kind of looked like BW's let or adapted to the way that Heidelberg wants to play as opposed to the other way around. So, I think that's a point that needs to be improved on from the Yellow Jackets. They really haven't played that bad. It's just a few mental lapses and a few costly mistakes have cost them 6 goals, and at the college level, that's gonna, you make a mistake, you're gonna get punished for it. So we gotta find a way to limit those mistakes and find a way to limit them fast.
Jonas working with Dees. I don't disagree with you. I just don't really know what else to say. As far as tonight goes, it just kind of feels like a lost cause. You're not going to score 5 goals in 12 and a half minutes.
Not unless Danny scores another hat trick in 2.5 minutes early on.
I suppose technically it's possible, but the way Heidelberg has played, it's just not looking good. And you wonder what it's going to take for BW to get back to the place in the conference where they're capable of being at the top of the OAC. It's been a pretty frustrating couple of years on the men's soccer side, and I know Reed Ayers is not happy about it. He's as hardworking and honestly as well respected as any coach in the conference. And it's just been a rough go. But hopefully, maybe some late season momentum. I don't know. Maybe the Jackets can loosen up a little bit when they go down and play at Otterbein, recognizing that they will be the underdogs against the Cardinals. Perhaps that'll give them a way to just kind of loosen up and play a little more freely. You're right, I don't think they played that poorly. But Heidelberg deserves some credit for finishing the chances that they've created. And they have looked right now like they could beat anybody in the conference tonight. They've got a free kick coming.
Yeah, like I said, like you and I talked about just now, BW really hasn't played that poorly. The difference currently is, like I talked about at the beginning of the game, before the game started, finding a way to win no matter the cost. You let up six chances for them to score, and 6 of them go on the back of the net, and BW's taken a lot of chances, but they haven't capitalized on a lot of those chances either. So, they have to figure out a way to push the limit and find a way to win no matter what it takes.
Schroff on the free kick. He misses it wide left, forcing Nihal into a dive. Under 11 minutes to go, Heidelberg leads the game 6-1. They have scored 4 second-half goals. Heidelberg makes a couple of substitutions. They have brought John Gall into the game. They've also brought into a player who's wearing number 22, even though they don't have a 22 on their roster. Let's see if we can get some clarification for you on that front. Number 22 for Heidelberg is Malik Mohammed. So Malik Mohammed has checked into the game for the Student Princes. Schroff told to back up a little bit. We're at the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, no, that foul was kind of caused just from frustration. Frustration from the game, the scoreboard, all that kind of stuff that is just kind of impacted players. And the biggest key for players right now is, at least from the BW side, is not to let the emotions get to you. Obviously,
Flag goes up.
Obviously, it's very hard to not let the emotions get to you. As a player, being in the heat of the game, it's very difficult to kind of take a third-person perspective from it when you're in it. But you almost have to kind of sit there and tell yourself, or ask yourself, I should say, is it really worth it? It kind of calm down. There's only 8 minutes left in the game. Obviously, it's not a result that you want, but kind of think to yourself, how can I make the rest of this game better, and go from there.
Jonas wins the ball at midfield. It's deflected, and Fausto pulled away. Dees lobs it toward the corner. Good chase, but can't quite continue to empty their bench. Sam Federici and Garrett Wantuck both checking in.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, at least from the Heidelberg coaching standpoint, do we, 7 minutes of the game, you're up 6-1, obviously he's taking the chance of resting most of his starters and making sure they stay healthy, but at the same point, one could also assume, if I take my starters out, are we going to play differently and potentially cost goals for ourselves?
I don't think they're worried about a 5-goal lead, though, with 6 minutes to go.
No, I realize that, but the mindset is still kind of probably in Civilic's head saying,
sure,
are things going to really change? And if so, with Danny Rupel still being in the game, could they change drastically?
Rupel has it in the middle, gave it up. Under 6 minutes to go. Kennedy's on the free kick. It is headed out of danger. At least immediate danger. Jacket still giving it a pretty good effort. He's trying to play it into the middle, knocked away. Dominic patiently pulling it up near side with 5 minutes to go. There's a ball played ahead for Dees. He is onside. Unfortunately, the ball kind of bounced away from him.
It's just unfortunately not tall enough.
I'll let you tell him. Heidelberg scored first. Here's our scoring summary if you didn't have a chance to catch the beginning of the game. They got the first goal of the night in the 10th minute. Leo Robles put in his second of the year. Danny Ruppel tied it up about 10 minutes later with his conference leading 17th of the season. It is also a school record 17th goal of the year. Danny has been about as good as you could possibly hope anybody could live up to here in 2017.
Yeah, but goal scoring can only do you so much. Danny's done a fantastic job on his end of the field, making sure that he produces the goals that he needs to, and so has Snowball and a few other players. But at the same token, the back line has to clean it up a little bit more and limit other teams' goal scoring opportunities and goal scoring chances.
He is among the national leaders, by the way, in goals scored. There's a left-footed smash, and it's wide right. Alonzo Fragoso from Marion in Wisconsin and Troy Remillard from Western New England have each scored 21 goals on the year entering tonight. As Malachi Alston checks out. 3-goal night for him, one he'll never forget. Garrett Littler makes his way onto the pitch. Heidelberg 6, Baldwin Wallace 1. Malachi Alston with 3 goals tonight. The others I mentioned from Robles. Rodrigo Mesa scored, and an own goal off of David Elson's forehead have accounted for the 6 Heidelberg tallies tonight. 3 minutes to go in this one. Snowball lays it off. It's a quick touch. That was creative. Found Ruppel's feet for half a second there. Heidelberg throwing on the far side coming. Ruppel chases after it, thinking about his second goal of the night, and he clanks it off the top left corner. That kind of night for Baldwin Wallace. It deflected off of a student Prince and then onto the bar, so it's a corner kick coming for BW. Ruppel usually puts those away. Maybe the deflection off of Heidelberg made that a near miss. Jonas back to Cannon Dees. Rockets one into the middle. Fancy footwork didn't work out. And now Heidelberg has a chance with 1:10 to go.
He talks about Danny, generally as the usual kind of performance Danny has, he kind of buries those. But you also mentioned it's just been one of those kind of nights for BW where it just doesn't seem like any shot they put on frame is ever going to even be attempted to go in the back of the net. Kress has done a fantastic job of making the saves he has to, and congrats to him.
Well, that one goes in the net. BW does get a second goal on the board as Timmy Jonas feeds across a great ball into the box, put in by Bryce Posner. Freshman midfielder from Aurora with his second goal, I should say BW's second goal of the night. Posner's third goal of the season, and it comes in the 90th minute. Just over 30 seconds to go. Also give Timmy Jonas credit for his 8th assist of the season. He's been among the most reliable in the OAC in that regard. Jonas now tied for 2nd in the conference with 8 assists.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
And it looks like the game will end in a foul.
2, 1.
Full-time whistle. Heidelberg 6, Baldwin Wallace 2. BW plays all the way to the end of things tonight, but not the way they wanted this one to close out. So the Yellow Jackets fall to 5-9-2 on the year, 1-4-1 in the OAC. Heidelberg 10-2-1 overall. They are 3-2-1 in conference play. Any final thoughts?
No, I think this is just one of those games that BW's gonna have to kind of forget about and go from here. And I mean, obviously keep it in the back of your mind of things, kind of think to yourself, we don't want a performance like this ever again. So they gotta kind of take that into mind and go from there. And hopefully for them, the results will start paving the way for themselves, and they'll get a few wins this the next coming few games, and maybe you get a spot at the OSC tournament.
BW's final road game of the regular season is Friday. They are at Otterbein Friday night at 7 o'clock before coming back next week to host Ohio Northern and Capital. For Kyle Klimo, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for joining us tonight. Heidelberg wins it 6-2 on BWYellowJackets.com. So long, everybody.